So today I'm going to talk to you about concealer, and in particular I'm going to talk to you about the Aimee Connolly Brighten Up Concealer. So I was gifted this in two shades. The first shade was Ivory, and then the second shade I was gifted this in was Beige. For me, when it comes to concealer, I do like my concealer to be just a tiny bit of a lighter shade than my foundation. So I have actually been using the Ivory shade, and this is what I have been trialing. I did get the brush to go with it. This is your concealer end, and I think this is like a powder end. I have not 100% sure on this, but this is the end I have been using. So the concealer itself is really creamy, really creamy, but it has a lovely tackiness to it. I like a tackiness to my concealer because it just means for me that I'm going to get that little bit more. Personally, I feel I get a little bit more coverage with it. So I have tried applying this with the brush, and I have tried applying it with my fingers, and I found that I've tried a few different brushes, small little brushes with it. I find that blending it in with a small little brush, I was getting a little bit more coverage with it. So I have just applied it like this, brought it down in a little bit of a V, and I'm going to bring it up to the side to try and lift my eyes. As I said, this is a really creamy concealer, so I did find it didn't settle in my fine lines. As you can see here, actually, when I'm using the brush, I am patting over and back, because if you swipe over and back, you're just getting rid of the concealer itself. I do find that this is really brightening under the eyes, and I do find it is good with dark circles. I'm going to tell you now in a second how I made it even better for my dark circles when I'm really tired. So I'm going to bring it in nice and close and show you the difference with the two eyes. So as you can see here, it is after helping my circles. Actually, I got a good night's sleep last night for once, so my circles aren't too bad, and I have a full coverage foundation on, but it's really helped brighten the under eye, and it's after helping lift as well. What I do is when I do my eye makeup, I actually just put a tiny bit here, and I leave it there, and I leave it go tacky. And then when I'm finished doing my makeup, I just add that little bit of extra coverage there, and it helps just get that last little bit of darkness away. So I've left that for a few minutes, and I'm just going to blend it in, and I blend it right up and just to the parts where I get very dark, and it just really helps. I'm gonna go put my full face of makeup on, and then I'm gonna come back and tell you what I really feel about it. Okay, so I'm back, and I'm ready to give you my full thoughts on the concealer. So what I like about it, I find it's really creamy. I find it's really brightening. I find if you have very dark circles, you'll probably need to go in with a tiny bit more, just the way I showed you there. But once you do that, you'll be fine. As for does it settle in fine lines, I have worn this with and without powder. Personally, I prefer it when I do set it with a powder, but I don't think it necessarily needs it. I just find a tiny bit it settled on me underneath, but sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't, if you get me. That I wouldn't say this is a concealer that settles, but for me personally, I need to set it with a powder. Would I recommend it? I absolutely would. I do. I think it's worth buying. People are going to ask me, have I tried the Total Cover Up? I have it there to try, and I haven't given it enough of a spin to form an opinion on it yet, but this would absolutely get a recommendation from me.